my newest video. Thank you for clicking on it. Today I have enlisted Twix's help. Have I enlisted your help? What are we going to talk about? What are we going to talk about? Say, we're going to talk about bunny basics. You're so unimpressed. So today we're going to be talking all about what you need to know when you get your first rabbit. Or if you haven't had a rabbit in a while, the new updated information on what you should know. Right? The first thing you need to know is that these guys are very long-lived creatures. If you are not committed to the lifespan of a cat or a dog, you shouldn't be thinking about getting a bunny. Twix here is 12 years old and he's doing perfectly well. He's just a little bit blind, or maybe all blind, we aren't too sure, but they can live, my vet said. He has seen them go till maybe 15 or more years sometimes, depending on how they are cared for. And you guys are cared for really well, you're spoiled. The other thing that you should know before getting a rabbit is that the cages that are in pet stores are inappropriately sized for a fully grown rabbit, especially if you have more than one. You will need a sized cage where they can stretch out at least the length of the body. 2 or 3 times the length of their body is ideal. And they should at least be able to stand up full height and not have their head reach the top of the cage. Ideally, multiple stories is excellent. It gives the bunny more space. What are you freaking out about? It gives the bunny more space and it allows them to get some exercise by going up and down ramps. Pop-Tarts! If you have more than one bunny, it allows them to have separate spaces and allows them to be able to not be glued together. Before getting your bunny, the first thing that you should do is go to rabbit.org and check out all the information that you can on rabbits. Rabbit.org is run by the House Rabbit Society, and they're an excellent wealth of information, including things like safe fruit and veg for your bunny. There's different topics like caring for your bunny, rabbit first aid, a bunch of stuff. I even go there occasionally to look up stuff for these guys, right? Right? We like rabbit.org. We like rabbit.org. You should also find an appropriate vet for your bunnies, which get into things all the time, by the way. You should find an appropriate vet in your area that specializes or at least is knowledgeable about rabbits. These guys are very sensitive creatures, and oftentimes when they get sick, they need specialized care that just isn't the same as cats and dogs. That way, you know that you have... Pop-Tart, what are you doing? That way, you know that you have somebody on your team. God forbid you get into an emergency and you don't have to run around looking for somebody. Bunnies are very, very sensitive creatures and they are prey animals, so they do not often do well with small young children. They do not like to be held, be on their level. So if you want to get near them, hold them on the ground, cuddle them, pet them on the ground. The exception is this guy. He's always been very, very cuddly and loves to be held. He used to take naps in my shoulder when you were a baby kitten. When getting a bunny, I highly suggest that you go to your local rescue or humane society. They come already spayed or neutered, and they come vet checked. They come with tons of different facts about them, and they're a great resource for caring for your rabbit as well. Before getting bunny, you should make sure your cage is all set up, and there's a few things that you need to stick into your cage. You should make sure that you have an appropriate bedding, which should be paper-based. You can also use certain cat litters like Yesterday's News or World's Best, but I wouldn't chance it because some bunnies eat their litter, and if they eat certain cat litters and they expand in their stomach, rabbits can't expel gas and they can't vomit. So it can be very deadly to them to eat something that's clumping or anything with baking soda in it. Personally, we use Carefresh in our house and it goes in their litter box. It's safe for them to eat and they like to dig around in it. You'll also want to make sure that you have appropriate food and water bowls. Usually I recommend for these guys that you get something ceramic or something heavy because they like to tip their bowls. You can put water in water bowls, but generally I suggest using the cage side water bottles because they stay cleaner and they're just as easy to access. When it comes to eating and rabbits' diets, they eat constantly, right? You eat constantly, which means they also poop constantly. That's all you guys do. You poop, poop, poop. The good news is that their poop is hard little pebbles and they're very, very easy to clean. When it comes to feeding them, it's very, very easy. Generally, what I recommend is Vercel or Oxbow. Oxbow is personally what I feed. It's the highest fiber content that I have been able to find for these guys, especially for the longer hair ones like Pop-Tart. If you have a baby bunny who's under the age of 6 months, you're going to want to feed a young rabbit diet. At 6 months, they can be neutered or spayed, and you can start transitioning to a normal adult rabbit food. The majority of a rabbit's diet should be made up of leafy greens, herbs, grasses, and hays. A rabbit should have approximately a 1/4 cup of pellets per 5 pounds of body weight, especially if you're not going to be feeding a ton of leafy greens and vegetables. They can have things like carrots and sweeter vegetables, but this should be limited because rabbit systems don't handle sugars very well. These guys love herbs. They eat almost every single herb. Their favorites seem to be mint, dill, cilantro, parsley, you name it, they love it. For hay, you should always have unlimited hay for your rabbit. If they're an adult rabbit or they're older, you should be feeding Timothy hay. If they're younger, they should be fed alfalfa hay. Alfalfa hay is a bit fattening for the bigger guys, so unless your rabbit is underweight or a hard keeper and it's young, then I don't recommend that you feed alfalfa hay. Grooming is really simple for these guys. If they're longer hair, you can use something like a Furminator. The shorter hair guys, you can just use a slicker brush. They usually clean themselves. They're like cats in that way, and they usually only need very minor maintenance in regards to grooming, like nail clipping, checking their teeth and their ears, and then cleaning out their eyes if they have any eye goobers. When it comes to treats, these guys have a slew of different options. Their favorite treats include non-traditional treats that you would usually feed for a rabbit, but rabbit treats are usually high in sugar, fruits, and often have dairy products in them. This isn't necessarily a bad thing if you're giving it every once in a while, but it can upset rabbits' sensitive tum-tum and cause some digestive issues like diarrhea. So we personally avoid them. What we give our guys occasionally are fruits like bananas. This guy loves bananas. If I go near him with a banana and I don't share it, all I get is thumping. Yes, you do not like it when I don't share bananas with you. Are you a banini? The other things we feed them occasionally are once a month we get them Paragon dental chews formulated for dogs. These guys are very simple in formulation. They do have potato in them, so they have to be limited, but they're natural in flavors and coloring, and they contain no meat products. The other thing that I usually get for these guys is actually the Fruitables line for dogs as well. A lot of their line actually has meat-free ingredients and have novelty flavors such as Greek yogurt and blueberries, and they often contain tons of different fruits and veg. The only thing I recommend doing before you feed your rabbit anything that is meant for any other species is to do some research, look into the ingredients, make sure there is no meat ingredients or dairy products usually. Yogurt is the exception. Yogurt can be good for their stomachs. But when it comes to exercise, rabbits need a lot of it. They definitely go nuts if they're stuck in a cage and there's not a lot of room for them. This helps if they are in a bonded pair, but even then, they need the exercise, they need to get around, they need to hop, and when you let them out, they will go insane. They run circles and laps, and they jump up in the air and do these crazy twists and turns, and those are called bunny binkies. They do them when they're They do them when they're super happy, and they're so adorable to watch, and it makes you so happy inside. If you're letting your rabbit out, or if you're thinking about having a house rabbit, then I suggest that you get some plastic tubing from your local hardware store and protect all your cords with that. You can also get some flashing or plastic stuff to cover around your baseboards and around the walls so they don't chew that. If you have carpet, watch your bunny because they can pull it up and eat it, and that can cause some digestive issues and blockages. Make sure that your rabbit is safe before you let them out, and always keep an eye on them. If they're a house rabbit, and that's a little bit different, kind of confine them to areas that are safe for them. That's about everything that I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any comments or questions, leave them in the comment section below. My question for you today is, what kind of rabbit do you have, and what are their names? So we have Twix, who is a dwarf tote, and we have Pop-Tart, who is an American mini lob. Keep on hopping!